Hey everybody, welcome to Balkan Motor. Today we're going to do two things. One, and the primary thing is we're going to change out the clutch plates behind this cover here, as well as the clutch springs. And we're going to change the oil of the bike again. So first let's get it warmed up, drain the oil, and prepare for disassembly. Okay, oil was drained. Now we gotta undo these 8mm bolts. We keep track of them. I think they might be different lengths, so gotta keep track of which one goes where, and then we take off this whole thing. Okay, so after about an hour of banging on the casing and quite a bit of WD-40 to loosen up the old gasket, I have everything removed. What is this called again? The starter idle gear I've taken out. That used to sit right in there, like so. I've taken it out. There's the case here. And now we're going to start undoing these 5 bolts evenly, so we can take everything out and shit doesn't just fly everywhere. And then start taking out the plates. And then we need to clean the old gasket off and position a new one in place. So that's it for now. Okay, the clutch springs are out. And now we can just pull this entire thing out with the discs. And then we're going to take a quick comparison to see how they look versus the other ones, the new ones, and replace them. So here we go. Okay, clutch plates are out. And here we go. So these are the old clutch plates. And these are the new EBC SK series. So one thing we can compare is how worn out the old versus the new is. So you can kind of see it. I forgot to bring my micrometer, but the new ones are significantly thicker, so there's more material on them. So the other thing to note is the metal plates that came with the bike are what looks like perforated on one side, or actually both sides, and the EBC ones that I got are actually just flat. Either way, we're going to replace them since I got them anyways. So let's rearrange them. I believe on here we have clutch plate, metal plate, clutch plate, metal plate, and so on until we complete them. And then put it back on. We just clean the old gasket from around, put the new one on, and call it a day. I forgot to mention is usually it's recommended to either soak the clutch plates in oil, or at minimum just get them dunked or like wetted. The reason for that is to since on initial start of the engine there won't be much oil here, and that might create an initial kind of wear on there. So we want them to be already kind of soaked with oil before we try to turn over the engine and use the clutch. So I'm just gonna dunk them and then install them back in the bike. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, clutch plates are in. We have to replace the springs. The EBC heavy duty clutch springs, they are the same length, but they're significantly stiffer. So this is the new spring. I can barely squeeze it. The old spring, I can definitely squeeze it a little bit. So these should give us a little bit better clutch feel. So I just put back those on, clean things up and close it up. Okay, springs are on, and much like with the installation, we're going to tighten them little by little so that it all goes in evenly. So I'm just going to do a star pattern on there up until they're tight, and I'll check the manual for what the proper torque values are. I'll torque them up, and we're done. Okay, so yesterday when I was tightening everything back up, I made a little bit of a mistake. Ended up reading the wrong torque values and had my torque wrench configured wrong. So one of the 5 bolts that hold in the springs and the clutch cover actually ended up being torn completely off. So I've ordered some screw removal drill bits, and I will be removing that. I also spent some time to find a better or a replacement bolt, and it seems like I'm going to be replacing all 5 actually. So these were actually pretty difficult to find, at least in this COVID epidemic. They were pretty hard to find. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is these are the new clutch plates, which I'll probably soak a little bit more in motor oil while we're waiting, and I'm cleaning off the gasket off of the cover. Now to do that, I'm using a simple scraper. You can buy at the hardware store, an X-Acto knife, and a little bit of grip tape. So this is a 120 grit. The grip tape I'm using mostly for removing some of the more stuck on stuff that I couldn't scrape off, just to make sure that this is nice and clean and, as you can see, as smooth as possible. I'm not going to bother shaving it all the way down to just pure metal. And this is kind of like what it looks like when the gasket's still on here. I'll need to do the same thing on the engine case as well to make sure that the new gasket will seal properly. Then I'll clean all this up because there's going to be a little bit of shavings, as you see, all over the place. Hopefully by then my new bolt and the kits to remove the old one have arrived, so we can take that out, put all this stuff back in, and have things work back again. Alright guys, the case is nice and clean. No more dirty gasket on there. I've separated all the new clutch plates and put them in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of engine oil, just to get them to be a little bit more soaked up in oil. From what I've read, this doesn't really make that much of a difference. I think the point is to have oil on them when you put them together with the other plates so that they actually pull together. The rest of the stuff is here. Now I'm going to go downstairs, clean out the engine side from the old gasket. And I'm going to put this cover back on because right now the whole engine is kind of sitting exposed. It's going to get dusty, and keep it covered until I get the new bolt and the kit to remove the other piece of this one from the clutch assembly. So let's go do that now. Okay, so this is the way I left things, and you can see the bolt that got sheared off right in there. So I'll need to remove that before I can reassemble everything again and replace that bolt. But for now, I'm just going to clean up the leftover gasket in here, and then put the case back on, the case cover back on, just to kind of prevent dust from getting in here. Alright, old gasket is cleaned out. I'm just going to put the cover back on, tighten it enough so that it just stays in place. No need to really over tighten. I'm going to be taking it off anyways, and that'll be it. Alright guys, cover is back on. That way we're not going to get any dust in there. So that is it for this episode. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications when new videos become available. Check me out on Instagram at BalconMoto2018, and I'll see you next time.